And he said to her mother-in-law, "Mama, please get me out of here. I want to go home and face Ndidi. I must restore my home." "My daughter, I already told the DPO about bailing you, but he said I should bring the sum of 100,000 naira before you will be bailed." "Mama G, please gather the money for me. I need to get out of here. Just these 5 hours I've spent here is already like hell to me. Please try and gather it for me today. I can't spend the night here. I will simply just die." "Okay, but the truth is I can't gather that money today because I only have 30,000 naira in my account." Suddenly, a policeman came out from nowhere and announced that their talking time was up. Mama G left and Wanne was taken back to the cell. She kept praying for Mama G to be able to gather the money so that she can be bailed that day because she was nervous not to spend a single night there. She didn't want those blood-sucking mosquitoes to bite her fresh skin. But unfortunately for her, Mama G didn't show up, so she passed the night there. So it went the next day. Mama G still didn't show up, and she passed another night. The following day, Ndidi came to see her. She told Wanne that she will rot in jail and eventually she will take her husband. But Wanne told her that if she's being bailed, that she will attack her so badly till she leaves her husband alone. Ndidi snapped her fingers on her face and said that it is impossible for her to be released, and if by luck she is being bailed, that she can't still do anything. Her words didn't come to pass, as Mama G and 2 police officers came in and released Wanne. It was an utmost surprise to her. She left with speed. Mama G and Wanne left as well. When they got home, they met Ndidi in the arms of her husband as they played. Wanne walked in with shame and hatred towards her. "Who released her?" her husband ranted. "It is that stupid mother of yours," Ndidi responded. Mama G got angry after hearing Ndidi referring to her as a stupid mother. She rushed her with fury, and within seconds, she was atop her, landing hard punches and slaps on her face. Okole pushed his mother and got Ndidi rescued from her hands. The hard punches and slaps she got caused bruises all over her face. Okole carried her like a groom will carry his bride on their wedding day. He carried her and dashed out. "You see your life?" Mama G said to Wanne. "Had it been you took my advice, all this wouldn't have happened. That witch had the guts to call me a stupid mother. Well, I am not done dealing with her at all. By the time I am done, she would never come close to me." And they cried so bitterly, regretting her actions. Mama G placed her head on her shoulder and made to sit on the sofa. She kept foaming in anger towards Ndidi and also consoled Wanne. Few hours later, they both came back. That's Okole and Ndidi. On Ndidi's head was a bandage and plasters on some part of her face. Okole stared at his mom and wife in a very bad manner. He took Ndidi by the hand and they headed to the bedroom. Mama G quickly noticed it and blocked their way. "Mama, leave the way," Okole warned. "Okole, I gave birth to you and I know what is good and bad for you. This lady you are following is evil. She was the one that led your wife into the act of trying to poison you. Don't get close to her. She would make life miserable for you as she's doing already to your wife. Mama, leave the way. One is evil. And it is my woman and my next wife to be," he said, trying to slap Mama G. She dodged the slap and rushed Ndidi. She gave her another hard punch and slap on the same spot in her face where she had bruises. Okole immediately took Ndidi outside because she was groaning in so much pain. Few minutes later, Nwanne became pressed. She left the toilet in their bedroom to pee. As she pulled her undies to empty her filled bladder, she heard Hauwa's voices coming from the living room. She listened carefully and discovered it was police officers. Her mind leaped. Oh my God! My husband just called the police again to arrest me? She tiptoed out of the toilet and halted at a hidden spot where she could hear the conversation they were having. Old woman, for taking laws into your hands. You beat up this young lady here by name Ndidi mercilessly because of a minor case, sounded the voice of one of the police officers. She didn't hear Mama G say anything, only the little jingling sounds coming from the handcuffs the police were about to use to handcuff her. Officers, there is one person remaining, Ndidi said. She's inside. Go and get her. Nwanne became scared. She didn't want to be arrested again. She ran back to the bedroom when she heard the loud footsteps of the policemen approaching. She banged the door loud and fastened the doors both. They knocked tirelessly and she refused to open. They got tired and left with Mama G. Her husband cuddled Ndidi like a baby in the living room. She peeped and saw them doing it. He cuddled and called her sweet pet names. He got a call and he picked it. Ndidi requested he put it on speaker. He did, and his conversation with the caller started. Boss Okole, I have found a story building for you. I have furnished it and I bought all the properties that are supposed to be in it. I bought bed, sofas, televisions, flower vases and many other things, the caller said. That is why I love doing business with you, said Okole. I will send you your balance right away. He ended the call. Nwanne stopped peeping them. She looked at herself on the mirror. She looked like a slave running away from being sold just because she neglected the advice that would have helped her. She couldn't bear the shame and pain anymore. Deadly option slowly entered her mind, which was suicide. Let us leave this house and enter the new house you just got. Leave your mom to rot in that cell while your wife will be frustrated, Ndidi said. Nwanne peeped and saw her husband nodding in agreement. They left immediately and she had to come out from her hiding spot. To commit suicide kept ringing in her mind, but she rebuked it when she remembered that Mama G was still in the cell and she needed to bail her because she caused it. She took her daughter and went to the bank. She withdrew 500,000 naira from the joint account she and her husband ran. She went to the police station where she was locked up before, but Mama G wasn't there. She went to another station close by and saw her in the cell. She requested for her bail and she was told to bring the sum of 500,000 naira. The money was just too much, but she paid and left with Mama G. On their way out of the station, they bumped into Ndidi, who quickly whispered into Nwanne's ears, "You will suffer and be frustrated till you die." Nwanne could not keep back, so she fired loud. "You can't do anything. I just got released though. Let's go home before the police will arrest us again," Mama G said. Nwanne swallowed all that she had to say. She obeyed Mama G and then went home. Throughout that day, Ndidi and her husband didn't come home. It was the next morning that they returned. She was parading her wash clothes on the rope in the compound when they came back. The gate made a creaking noise and flung open. They held each other tight, like their lives were depending on each other. They mocked at her as they walked into the house. Nwanne continued spreading the clothes and thinking on how to ask her husband for forgiveness and also get him out of the evil bond between him and Ndidi. After contemplating for a while, she gave it a thought and decided to ask him for forgiveness. She entered into the house to apologize. She knelt down before him and asked him for forgiveness. Please, my dear, I am so sorry for my attitude. Forgive me for trying to poison you. Believe me, it wasn't Didi that advised me to do so. Kindly find a place in your heart to forgive me, she pleaded on her knees amidst tears. I have forgiven you already, Okoli said, but not fully, he added, because you are lying against my wife-to-be Ndidi. As she heard him call Ndidi his wife-to-be, she felt a pain in her heart. It pained her that Ndidi, her best friend, was slowly trying to harvest where she didn't plant, trying to take her husband simply because she took her bad advice. Ndidi is not your wife-to-be or your wife. I am your wife, Nwanne said. Shut up! Ndidi is already my wife because our wedding is coming up next week, Okoli announced. Impossible! Mama G yelled, entering the sitting room from the kitchen. You can't marry her. Okoli, why are you behaving like this? Hey, Mom, I will arrest you if you utter those words against my darling wife Ndidi. Get that into your skull. She has come to stay and she's going nowhere. All right, I think this is the right time for us to leave this house for the both of you as we move into our new house, because this whole place is becoming so unconducive and uncomfortable for my wife, he announced, holding Ndidi. Hearing those words brought shame to Nwanne. She regretted why she didn't take Mama G's advice. She ran to their bedroom and began to cry. Mama G kept arguing with them till the noise died down. Her eyes were slowly getting swollen. Mama G entered the room and said to her, "My daughter, these tears you are shedding is simply a waste of time. It can't bring back your husband. Stand your ground and you will get him back." Nwanne nodded and went to continue spreading the clothes. When she was done, she sat on the bench in the veranda thinking of the next step to take. She got an idea of involving their pastor into it. She called him and told him about it. The pastor said that he would talk to her husband and that she shouldn't panic. Your husband will forgive you and he won't get married to Ndidi. I will talk to him. It is just a matter of time, he assured. Nwanne put her hope on what he said and didn't make any move again, thinking that Okoli would change. 3 days later, he wasn't showing any sign of change. He stuck to Ndidi so tight that they would be seen walking together. Nwanne called her pastor again and told him he wasn't making any change. The pastor told her that her husband needs serious prayers to set him free from the claws of Ndidi. He told her to be prayer active and that she should take legal actions. After telling her all this, he ended the call, leaving Nwanne in confusion. Her phone beeped twice as a notification popped into her phone. Out of confusion, she mistakenly deleted the notification. It came again, and reluctantly, she opened it. The notification led her into Phone's browser as the picture of her husband in a well-ironed black suit popped up. It was a breaking and threading news about him that was uploaded by one of the popular blogs. It reads, "The owner of the popular wooden shop just acquired new assets in the United States of America. A big congratulations to him." Nwanne became startled because she knew she and Mama G won't be part of the celebration. She showed the news to Mama G, who became happy and sad at the same time. They heard Ndidi's voice so loud coming from her apartment. "Mama G, I think I need to talk to Ndidi face to face," Nwanne said and left without waiting for her reply. Getting to the door of Ndidi's apartment, she overheard Ndidi talking to herself. Her voice was so loud that she could hear her from the door. She peeped through the keyhole in her door and saw her jubilating. Oh man, tomorrow I shall get married to Okoli officially in the court. And after 2 weeks, I will file for a divorce and I will get half of his properties, especially his mansion in the United States of America, and also that his bishop, she said, jumping in excitement. Out of shock, Nwanne barged in to yell at her. Ndidi, so the reason why you're sticking to my husband is for you to acquire his properties. I trusted you as a friend and as a sister, and you want to take what rightfully belongs to me with force. Why are you so heartless? Why do you want to do this to me? She added in tears. Cry, cry, baby. You must be a fool. Get out of my way. By the time I finish duping your husband, he will learn never to chase ladies again, Ndidi said. My husband, don't chase ladies. You are the one holding him with your spells, Nwanne lashed. And so what? I will hold him with my spell till I get his properties, Ndidi said, hissed and pushed her out of her apartment. In a hurry, Nwanne went to tell Mama. As she told her, she slumped in shock and fainted. Nwanne called for help, and some of her neighbors, which she wasn't friends with, came to help her. They helped to revive Mama before they left to their various apartments. Mama kept gasping for breath. Nwanne had to take her to the hospital for proper medication. She was fully revived with the injections the nurses in the hospital gave her. They gave Nwanne the bill and she paid and took Mama home in the evening. Her husband came back home that same evening to take all the documents that he will use to move to the United States with Ndidi the following day after their court wedding. He entered their bedroom and took all the documents. He sat on the sofa in the living room, sorting out the useful documents he would use to travel. While he was doing that, suddenly, 4 well-armed masked men broke into the living room and dragged him outside into an awaiting vehicle. Nwanne froze on her knees as the armed men threatened to shoot her if she stands or moves. They made their way out of the street with her husband as they released some bullets into the air to scare people away from stopping them. Mama G rushed from her room and met her on her knees. Why are you kneeling down? I just heard gunshots. Where is your husband? Where is my son? I thought he came back home this evening. Nwanne, talk. Where is he? Nwanne was still frozen on her knees. The scene that just happened displayed in her mind. What? My husband just got kidnapped right under our roof. Nwanne, can't you talk? Talk to me. Where's my son? Mama G asked in a loud voice. If I tell her what happened, she might collapse again. I better don't say anything. I'd rather go to the police station and make reports before it is too late, she said in whispers to the hearing of herself alone before leaving the sitting room with speed. She got to the police station and made the reports, but the policemen held her down, calling her a suspect. They detained her and invited Ndidi to the station. Yes, she's the one that organized those men to kidnap my husband-to-be. Now she has come to make reports so she won't be suspected. Thanks to these policemen that are very wise, Ndidi said, walking majestically into the interrogation room where Nwanne was detained in. Torture her till she confessed where she kept my husband-to-be, she said, showing Nwanne a deadly sign. She catwalked out of the room, and like a play, the police officers began to torture Nwanne like a thief. One of the hefty policemen landed a slap on her face, accompanying it with a question. Where did you take him to? Which bush did you take him to? Ah! Nwanne groaned in pains. I am not the one that organized those kidnappers. My friend, talk now. Where did you tell those kidnappers to hide him? He asked, giving her another resounding heart slap. I am not the one. For heaven's sake, I can't kidnap my own husband. Wanne managed to talk, bleating profusely from her mouth. This woman is a bloody liar. You have no hand in your husband's kidnap, right? He ordered his fellow policemen out of the interrogation room, leaving just the two of them alone in the room. He picked up a short rod at the edge of the room and came to her. He bent down before Wanne and pressed the rock on her neck, causing her to choke so badly. He pressed it so hard to her neck as she continued spitting out blood on the table. He tortured her mercilessly for what she didn't do or even have a hand on. After hours of torturing her without getting response, he left her and left the room, leaving just Wanne alone in the room. Few minutes after he left, two policemen entered and took her to the cell. It was night already. Some policemen left to their houses while the ones on duty stayed. The next day, she was tortured again, which continued for 4 days. The torture was too much and unbearable to her. She regretted not telling Mama G that she was going to the police station. Had it been she had told her, she would have come to bail her. Or better still, she won't be tortured like this because Mama G will surely stand for her. After torturing her on the 4th day, a news came into the station that the kidnappers were requesting for the ransom of 30 million naira before he would be released. And if the 30 million naira wasn't provided in 24 hours, that Okole would be killed and his corpse would be sent to his family. As the news came in, Ndidi came into the station and had a private talk with the DPO. After the conversation was over, she went to the cell where Wanne was locked up and told her that she will be executed today. Wanne didn't believe her because she wasn't taken to court to be judged or sentenced to death. She took it as one of those threats till 3 policemen took her out of the cell and forced her into an awaiting van. Off they drove, heading towards a lonely and unknown area to her, which had bushy paths. Where are you taking me to? Stop this car right now, she cried, banging on the glass of the car. See, woman, if you make any move or try to scream, we will waste you here and nothing will happen, the hefty policeman that tortured her warned. It is better you waste me, she said, and continued banging the glass. One of them brought out his handkerchief, and as the handkerchief was brought closer to her nose, she perceived the unpleasant smell coming out from it, which made her feel dizzy. Before she would know what was happening, she slept off. When she woke up, the car wasn't moving, it was parked. They were discussing. She didn't make a noise to notify them that she was awake. She wanted to know the subject of their conversation, so she feigned asleep as she listened. Let us kill this lady once and for all with her gun than hanging her, since we are getting paid by Ndidi, one of them suggested. Hearing that, Wanne felt she was dead already and also praying for an angel to come to her rescue. The driver of the van, who was also a policeman, opposed the other policeman's suggestion. Tunde, we are not killing her. He paused and coughed slightly, then continued. We are not killing her with a gun. Let us hang her so she can experience a painful death. Shooting her with a gun would be a sweatless death for her. Let us make it painful. God, please, have mercy on me. Send me a savior, Wanne prayed silently in her mind. Okay now, if you say so, the driver agreed. They all came down and dragged her down. They took a rope from the boot of the car and took her to a tree 2 feet far away from the car. Wanne looked around the whole place to see if she could see someone to call for rescue. But the whole place was so bushy, we can simply call it a forest. No single human being was seen passing by. They tied the rope on the branch of the tree and also tied it to her neck ready to hang her. Say your last prayer and goodbye to the world, they all said, showing her the sign of prayer and goodbye as they pulled the rope. The rope pulled her neck, and boom, she was floating in the air under the pulling force of the rope, choking badly. All the dried injury in her mouth that she sustained from the torture became fresh again. Blood came out of the wounds and dripped out of her mouth like an imbecile because there was no strength in her to spit it out since her throat was being pulled and choked. Death was slowly coming to take her away. She was seeing it. Why? When the sound of a locally made gun, it sounded again. Why? And the policemen fled into their van. The gunshots were approaching. She landed on the ground with force as the policemen already stopped pulling the rope because they ran for their own lives. She tried freeing herself from his strong grip, but she couldn't. Forging a lie to tell him might not help matters, so she decided to tell him because it might be of help to her. She stammered, struggling to know where to start from. She was panting heavily too. Breathe in. Breathe out, he repeated, pressing her chest softly and slowly. She did it, but it didn't stop her from panting. Take it easy, he said. He took his hold and made her to climb his back. He took a long narrow path which led to his house, a bungalow house. He threw the hole on the ground and took her to the bench in the veranda of the bungalow. As he dropped her on the bench, she surveyed everywhere with her eyes. The ceiling of the veranda was spoilt. The door and windows of his house were made of wood and was broken and being eaten by termites. She wondered why a clean, handsome, and vibrant man would be living in such a tattered house, and also why he would be a farmer. Welcome to my humble home, he said, offering her water. It was as if he knew she was thirsty. Wani grabbed the cup of water, and in less than 2 seconds, she emptied everything to quench her long thirst. Thank you, she said, handing over the cup to him. He took it into his house, and when he came out, he asked, "Are you satisfied with the water, or should I bring more?" "Oh, I am satisfied. Thank you," Wani appreciated, leaning her back against the rough wall of his house, yawning and belching at the same time. "You look hungry," he teased. Wani didn't respond because she was contemplating whether to take that word as a comment, joke, or an insult. When he noticed that she wasn't responding, he spoke. "Never mind. Now that you're not panting again, let us go inside and have a proper discussion." "Proper discussion? You are just a stranger I just bumped into while running and looking for safety. I don't know you," one name murmured. "I am okay here. Let's talk here. No need of going inside," she suggested. The man chuckled. He nodded and then began. "So tell me, why were you running absent-minded? Who was chasing you?" "I was about to be hanged by some police officers, but when a group of vigilantes saw them, they rescued me by engaging in a serious bullet clash with the police. So I had a chance of escape. That was when I bumped into you," Wani explained in cracky tone. "Okay, but why would the policemen want to hang you when they are supposed to be protecting you?" he asked like a detective, which was suspicious. "Are you a detective?" Wani queried. "No," he responded. "Do I look like one?" "You actually sound like one," Wani replied. The man asked the question again, and Wani had to tell him everything. "It was my friend that paid them to hang me. I took her as my friend and sister, but she betrayed me and even kidnapped my husband." Throughout the narration, the man was just quiet and nodding, which looked weird. When Wani was through, he then spoke. "This story reminds me about my wife, who was so desperate and also a lover of money. Before I married her, she disguised herself as a holy and trustworthy lady. But after we married, she showed me shaggy, her real devilish self. Within the space of 2 weeks, she filed for a divorce and took all my properties and lavished all my money, leaving me frustrated in life. If not for this bungalow, he was obstructed with a cough as he coughed slightly before he continued. If not for this bungalow, I would have been homeless, or better still, dead. The story was pathetic, which made one feel remorse. It was so similar with what Ndidi was exhibiting to her husband. She stared at him for some minutes, and boom, she recognized his face. It was the man she saw in the framed picture in Ndidi's apartment. Is this her husband? She was lost in the world of thoughts when he called her back. People are wicked oh. What is her name self? He asked. I mean, what is the name of that your friend that did this to you? Her name is Ndidi, Wanne announced in dismay and in tears. Remembering her name makes her cry. Ndidi? He exclaimed in a loud voice, which got her really scared. Where does she stay? Where is she? Take me there now, he said in a hurry. Wanne was shocked. Do you know her? She asked. Hey, African Tales by Kamma tribe, how are you all doing today? For me, I am very fine. Do you think Ndidi is about to meet her Waterloo? And tell me what you think about this episode. Kindly like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And please, you can support my channel by buying me coffees using the link on my bio or the link on the description of this video. Till I bring the next episode of this story your way, it is a goodbye from here, and God bless you.